What's up everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Channing and today we're going to be covering a pretty sinister story about a YouTuber with 3 million subscribers named Eric Van Conover and how he recently got arrested on attempted murder charges for running over a police officer. Now imagine this, you're a YouTuber with over 3 million subscribers. Life is great. Your content consists of showcasing the most expensive homes all over the world. You're traveling the globe, getting millions of views on your videos, then all of a sudden everything comes to a halt, all because of a few reckless decisions. You see, on March 13th, 2025, Eric was driving his Jeep Wrangler without a care in the world, but there was one problem. He was drunk. But Eric didn't care because he just decided to keep on driving until a police officer took notice of Eric, pulling him over to do a few sobriety tests, before ultimately arresting him for a DWI. Now, luckily for Eric, he ended up lucking out because instead of getting held for bail, Eric was released under the promise that he'd show up to his court date. But just 2 days later, on March 15th, he'd have another run-in with the law. And it's safe to say that he wasn't so lucky this time. You see, around 4 p.m. on March 15th, Eric decided to hop in his Jeep Wrangler once again. Now, a little bit later at 4:45 that day, a local police officer was conducting a normal traffic stop on the side of the road, when all of a sudden, Eric, of all people, flew past the officer at a high rate of speed, going about 55 to 60 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. So the police officer quickly finished up whatever he was doing at the initial traffic stop to then quickly catch up to Eric, attempting to pull him over now. But for some reason, Eric was not having it. You see, instead of stopping the vehicle, Eric decided to make things much worse for himself and lead the police on a high-speed chase for about 8 miles. So there he was, recklessly and selfishly risking the lives of others. Eventually, the officers managed to bring Eric's vehicle to a stop, but this didn't last for long because when one of the officers attempted to make a few strides towards Eric's Jeep, Eric put that thing in reverse, plows through the cop, sending him 20 to 40 feet back, almost killing him. Then, without a care in the world, he recklessly just decides to drive off, leading the police on yet again another chase, as well as leaving the injured officer behind. Luckily, I did find out that the officer only sustained minor injuries, so that's good. But at this point, Eric is in a full-blown police pursuit, and the police need to act fast to put an end to it. After chasing Eric's Jeep for another 28 miles or so, the police managed to set up some spike strips, which ended up making contact with the Jeep's tires, rendering the whole entire vehicle useless. And as you could probably guess, almost immediately the police put Eric into custody and is now facing various charges, one of them being attempted murder. Yeah. But the story doesn't end there because a local news station was able to catch some of this chase on camera, as you can see here.
Police paperwork says the pursuit started after Conover was going 55 in a 35. After 8 miles, Conover stopped and an officer attempted to de-escalate the situation, but Conover allegedly drove at him and hit him in the leg and then sped off for another 28 miles.
Now, on Monday, March 17th, Eric would appear in a courtroom, which only ended up making matters worse for him, as you're about to see in a moment.
I have everything right here and it's all been falsified.
Eric Conover had a lot to say before his arraignment this afternoon.
If anyone dares try to test my mental competence, I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now.
Conover is facing several charges, including attempted murder.
Mom, thank God, look at me!
Today in court, Conover was outspoken, claiming that he's a public figure because of his nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and saying this was part of a, quote, police sting against him.
All right.
Okay, Eric.
All right.
They're here to help you.
The state asks that he remains in preventative detention.
The state's position is that when a law enforcement officer signals for you to pull over and stop, you should do so.
He has had a chance to review the police reports in this matter and denies these allegations. He does not agree with the reports as that they are stated.
The defense asked that he be released, saying he's not a threat to the public and has no criminal record. Police say he was arrested Friday night for a separate drunk driving charge, which Conover denies.
I've been sober from alcohol for 1,558 days, so to press me on a DUI, I'm a public figure.
Now, what's interesting is watching Eric mention in court how his recent DUI arrest never happened, while also trying to cover that story up by saying he only got arrested for possession of Mary Jane, which I don't see what the point of lying is. He also claims that this whole entire situation was some sort of police sting and failed to show any accountability for his actions. I just find it super interesting how the defense in this case is trying to claim that he's not a threat to the public after leading the police on 2 separate chases that spanned across 36 miles in total. Like, you can't make it up. What's also pretty funny is hearing Eric's claim he's, quote, been sober for 1,558 days, as if he didn't just get a DWI a few days prior. Then going on to say something about how he's a public figure, as if we should just look at this guy and feel some sort of remorse for what he did, all because our beloved YouTuber with 3 mil subs is now locked up. Oh no. What are we ever gonna do? Like, I can almost assure you guys that most of you, if not all of you, have never even heard of this guy, because if my unemployed ass hasn't, you probably haven't either. But at the same time, his complex leads him to view himself as some sort of celebrity or something, which is just odd to see and sadly pretty normal behavior from an influencer nowadays. Because Eric is literally clinging on to his internet relevance that's only hanging on by a thread, while also in a courtroom facing attempted murder charges. So just let me know if I'm the stupid one who just doesn't see the correlation here. And you guys know me, I can't just yoink this video idea from Charlie without doing my own deep dive on Eric. So you already know, I headed straight into Reddit in hopes of finding out some more information. And boy, let me tell ya, it gets spicy. You see, in this following thread created only 12 days ago, apparently someone ran into Eric while walking down the street at 10 a.m. The Reddit user says Eric approached a middle-aged man that was training his dog. Then all of a sudden, Eric begins to threaten the dog owner as if he wanted to fight. So the Reddit user says they're gonna call the police. Then Eric starts to threaten them as well, calling them a cuck and a coward liberal. Then when the Reddit user tried to walk away to defuse the situation, Eric decided to follow them for 15 minutes while also shouting more insults. But once he noticed that the Reddit user had dialed 911, he finally decided to calm down and sit his ass on a bench, allowing the Redditor to leave. Now, the best part about this entire post is the fact that the Reddit user also had no idea who Mr. Eric Conover was either. But as we know, Reddit knows all, and they were ultimately able to link this picture in the thread to none other than Eric himself. And it just goes to show how disillusioned Eric really is, especially if he's got the time in his day to harass some random dude that's just trying to enjoy his morning at the ass crack of dawn. Now, another interesting part of Eric's lore is his relationship with prescription drugs. In another thread, a Reddit user explains how he recently posted a picture of him on his Instagram while holding a bottle of olanzapine. Sorry if I said that wrong, I'm not a medical professional. Then they said that he was refusing to take his meds, which is an antipsychotic for bipolar and schizo disorders, leaving the Reddit user wondering if he's going through some sort of manic episode or something like that, which would honestly explain some of his recent shenanigans. And at this point, it's safe to say that Eric is currently being held without bond. I mean, who really gets attempted murder charges and gets to experience any sort of freedom? And in my opinion, this is a good thing, not only for the general public, but also for himself. This dude really seems like he's going through a lot, and what's crazy is, from the outside looking in, Eric just looks like the average dude, despite learning about his recent crash outs. I guess my point is that you never really know what someone's going through, especially if you're just looking at them. And in no way, shape, or form am I defending this guy. I mean, the dude literally decided to wake up and run a police officer over, so like, who can really defend that? And to be honest, I really think that officer deserves justice. So yeah, all in all, him getting arrested and getting no bail is a good thing. And not to mention, this whole entire situation is just so avoidable, and I couldn't help but inform you guys on this situation as well. But with all that being said, I think right here is where I'm gonna wrap up the video. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think about Mr. Eric Conover in the comments below. As always, thanks for making me a part of your day, and God bless.